Welcome to On Topic. I'm Jennifer Fuller. The veto session at the Illinois General Assembly generally doesn't make all that much news, but this year is an exception. To talk about that this week, we have Jack Tichenor, a veteran State House correspondent and the interim director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at SIUC. Jack, normally when we talk about veto session, we don't talk about a lot of things, but lots of news this week.
There's a lot of speculation about what might come up in veto session, but this year's been kind of set apart by the Me Too revelations by women lawmakers and lobbyists in the wake of the Harvey Weinstein scandal. Around 300 women have signed on to a letter condemning what they call the pervasive culture of sexual harassment at the State House. Now, some of the stories they've been telling are absolutely horrifying in terms of alleged bad behavior by folks at the Capitol. Speaker Madigan and the other legislative leaders are fast-tracking legislation to have the General Assembly and lobbying firms put mandatory training programs in place. There's a special task force that's investigating the problem and will recommend best practices later. But the bombshell this week, of course, came at a hearing on that bill when a political activist accused a Chicago state senator by name of harassing her while she was trying to get a bill passed. Her case was turned over to the legislature's Office of Inspector General, but we found out that office has been without a permanent leader for some time now, at least going back to 2015. The senator in question, Ira Silverstein of Chicago, has been stripped of his leadership position, and the Senate President John Cullerton is promising to have an interim IG in place by next week. We've also learned that there are 27 other cases under investigation, but we don't know the nature of those complaints. There hasn't been anything like this quite to rock the State House since Rod Blagojevich was taken into custody a while back, and the background chatter on who's been up to what is almost deafening.
It's certainly a story that we'll continue to cover. Meanwhile, the number of veto overrides that have gone on during this veto session is also making news.
Indeed. So far, the House and Senate have overridden Governor Bruce Rauner on 14 bills thus far, while sustaining 3 of his vetoes. That's a lot when you consider that Republicans have to join with Democrats in the House to reach that threshold of 71 votes to override. The biggest news was the House voting 112 to nothing to override the governor's veto of a bill that would require state agencies to post monthly totals of their bills. That was it's kind of an ignoble title, but when you have a bill that's defeated by over 100 votes, you join the Century Club at the Capitol. Now, he did rack up some wins when the House failed to override by 1 vote a veto of a bill that would make it illegal for local governments to do their own right-to-work zones.
Jack Tichenor is interim director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at SIUC, and I'm Jennifer Fuller.